Welcome back to the deep dive. So we've gone through that whole stack of sources you shared with us, all the research papers, the biomechanical analyses, everything.
Yeah, all the coaching manuals.
And we're going to try and give you the fast track, really, to one of the most critical movements in the golf swing. But it's also one of the most misunderstood.
It really is.
Today, we are strapping in and talking about the motion of the pelvis, or what's often just called pelvis sway.
And look, if you're a serious golfer, or even if you're just fascinated by how the body generates power, this is absolutely crucial stuff for you.
Right,
We're
yeah.
really talking about the difference between a swing that's, powerful and controlled versus one that's just wobbly and all over the place.
Inconsistent.
Totally. This one little lateral movement pattern, it's decisive for your swing efficiency, for hitting the center of the club face, and for getting distance without feeling like you have to swing out your shoes.
Okay, let's unpack that, because the word sway usually has like a negative connotation in golf, doesn't it? It sounds like a fault.
It does, but we're redefining it here. This is a specific, controlled, and totally necessary lateral shift.
So let's get a precise definition on the table. Pelvis sway it's the measurable shift of your hips laterally from your starting position.
Your 0 point, exactly. So if you're a right-handed golfer, that means a slight shift to the right, away from the target as you go back.
That's the load.
That's the loading phase. And then it's that active, really dynamic shift back to the left toward the target in the downswing and through to the finish. It's that controlled transfer of your mass.
And the sources, they kept referring to the pelvis as the engine room.
The engine room, the central hub. Yeah.
Why is that? I mean, we're talking about a movement that's maybe only a few centimeters. How can that be the foundation for everything else?
Well, because the pelvis is so much more than just a pivot point that you turn around, it's the origin for your balance, your rhythm, and crucially, your force transfer.
It's where the big muscles are.
It's where your biggest, most powerful muscles are, your glutes, your core. And that lateral shift is what lets you engage them against the ground. If your pelvis sway is right, the rest of your body, your torso, your arms, it can all follow a powerful and repeatable path. If the engine room is offline, the whole kinetic chain just fails instantly.
Okay, so let's start where the swing starts. The backswing. We're building that foundation, getting to the top of the swing. If this is all about loading the engine room, what should your hips actually be doing here?
So the movement you're looking for is a slight, and I have to emphasize, a controlled shift of the pelvis to the right.
Slight is the key word.
The key word. For most of the pros we see, we're talking about maybe 3 to 5 centimeters of movement. It's subtle, but that little shift is mandatory because that's how you store elastic energy. You need that resistance to create the propulsion later on.
I really like the analogy in the sources for this. It's not just twisting, it's actively loading force into the ground through that back leg.
Precisely. You're loading into your trail leg, much like drawing a bow before releasing an arrow. That slight move to the right, it applies a compressive force right into your right heel.
And that's the resistance.
That is the vital resistance. It sets up the entire firing sequence. You might even feel your lead knee get a little inward resistance as your hip shifts. That's a good sign. It means you're stabilizing the load, not just spinning out.
And this is where we have to talk about the amateur golfer, because this is where it all breaks down for so many people.
Immediately.
The sources all highlight this huge common mistake. Confusing that small controlled shift with just a massive lean to the right.
Oh, that's the classic failure, the reverse pivot, or just a terrible tilt. When your whole upper body just tips over to the right, you lose your balance, and critically, you lose control of the low point of your swing.
And you get mishits.
Instant mishits. The best coaching tip here, and this is a great little nugget for you to take away, is to really focus on feeling that pressure building firmly in your right heel.
Okay, but why the heel specifically? Why not say the ball of your foot?
That's a great question. Because feeling pressure in the heel ensures your center of gravity stays properly over your base of support. If you feel it moving into your right toe, your hips have probably slid way too far, or your spine is tilting over.
You're losing your angles.
You're losing your angles. Heel pressure tells you that your glutes, your big power muscles are engaged, and you're loading correctly. So at the top of the swing, most, but definitely not all, of your weight should feel settled right into that right heel, centered and ready to go.
All right, so we've loaded the bow, we've got that controlled shift. Now we get to the fun part, the transition and the heart of the golf swing, impact. this is the release.
Absolutely. The downswing is all about a dramatic, active transfer of your mass. At the point of impact, your pelvis sway has to show an active forward and lateral shift toward the target.
You have to get your center of gravity moving.
You are shoving it toward the lead side. I mean, if you don't shift forward, you are just doomed to hit the ball off your back foot, and that kills your cliphead speed. It's a consistency nightmare.
That sounds almost violent, though. Isn't there a risk of just pushing so hard laterally that you just slide? You know, that floppy move we're trying to avoid?
That's the crucial distinction, and the timing is everything. The shift initiates the downswing, but it's immediately converted into rotation. That lateral push is what the sources call unlocking ground force.
Ah, I like that.
Think of that sprinter analogy they used. It's like pushing explosively out of the starting blocks. You use the stored energy from your trail leg to start the move, and that gives your body the momentum to rotate powerfully around your lead hip.
And that sequence is what creates that amazing separation we see in the pros. The pelvis starts shifting and turning, but the chest, the upper body, it stays back for just a split second longer.
That little delay is pure gold. It creates the X factor stretch, the difference in rotation between your pelvis and your upper body. A great golfer, when the shaft is parallel to the ground coming down, their hips might be 45 degrees open, but their shoulders are still almost closed.
That's where the speed comes from.
That creates maximum torque. That's your speed reservoir, and it all gets released through the club.
So if that lateral shift is weak, or it's just passive, the body has to find speed somewhere else. And that's where things go really wrong.
It's a catastrophe. If the lower body doesn't lead, the upper body takes over. And you see three things. One, you kill your clubhead speed because you didn't use the ground. Two, your ball contact is all over the place. And three, you put a ton of stress on your lower back.
And that instability, it leads directly to the shot that every amateur hates. The slice. You're saying this lack of a lateral shift is a root cause.
It's a huge mechanism failure. The data shows that amateurs who slice almost always show insufficient pelvis shift to impact. Their hips stay behind the ball, which literally blocks the path for the club.
So the hands have to take over.
The hands and arms have to try and reroute the club, which leads to that casting motion coming over the top. The club approaches from outside the target line, and there's your slice, or, a weak push. That pelvis shift is literally the key that unlocks the correct inside pass.
So backswing is the load, impact is the release. That just leaves the final phase, the finish. And one of our sources called the finish the most honest story of the swing.
It's the proof. It's the diagnostic tool that tells you everything you need to know about the chain reaction that just happened. A good finish proves that the motion flowed completely.
So what does that look like? If we want to define a proper finish that comes from good pelvis sway, what are we looking for?
Your hips have to have moved clearly past where you started at address toward the target. And they need to be completely rotated open.
So we should be standing noticeably ahead of where we started. What are the key indicators that we've done it right?
Total effortless balance. Your weight, I'm talking 95% or more, is stacked right over your lead leg. Your hips are open, your body is tall, fully released toward the target. That stable forward position proves you transferred your mass correctly.
And the opposite, the failure state, is something you can just feel, right? It's that feeling of being stuck.
Exactly. If you finish a swing and you feel stuck with your weight split between both feet, or worse, you're still hanging back on your trail leg.
You know you messed up.
You know you failed to complete that lateral shift. You left distance on the table, you lost control, and you probably put a lot of strain on your back trying to rotate without shifting first.
So the final, maybe the most valuable tip here is for you to use your finish as a self-correction tool.
It's the simplest check in the world. Hold your finish for a second. Are you balanced? Can you lift your trail foot completely off the ground without falling over?
Stand there like a statue.
Are you standing tall and stable on your lid leg? If yes, the chain worked. The load, the shift, the rotation, it all happened.
Yeah.
If you're wobbling and you have to take a step back, you know the kinetic chain broke down somewhere. And it was probably because that active pelvis shift was too slow or just non-existent.
And that stability, it's even more important with a driver, isn't it?
Right.
Because of the speed required.
That's a great point. The principles are the same, but the intensity is higher. With a driver, you need that maximum shift to generate power. Your ability to hold that final, powerful, stacked position tells you if you really use the ground. If you're falling away from the target, you're just robbing yourself of power. So to kind of wrap this all up for you, the listener, pelvis sway is
Hmm.
It is so far from being some theoretical thing just for pros. It's one of the most clearly measurable things that separates efficient, powerful swings from weak, inconsistent ones.
Yeah.
Great ball strikers, they load stably into that trail heel. They start the downswing with that aggressive lateral shift to unlock the ground, and they finish in perfect, unquestionable balance.
And this is where we can move beyond just feel, which can be so unreliable, and into actual objective data. The sources really stress this. Measuring this movement is the key. The AI golf chatbot they mentioned, for instance, can give you centimeter-accurate data on your hip movement.
And that objective data is your best friend. It removes all the guesswork. Your coach says, shift more, but what does that mean?
How much is more?
Right. Are you shifting 3 centimeters when you need to be at 5 or 6? You can measure it, compare it to pro benchmarks, and train with a real strategic goal. It makes your practice so much more efficient.
That's incredibly powerful. You're replacing a vague feeling with hard numbers, so you are encouraged to get your sway tested, find out your values, and really take control of that engine room.
And to leave you with a final thought, building on that idea of the honest story, if you can hold your finish balanced for 3 full seconds, you've proven that you've made a complete transfer of force. But think about those days when you feel rushed or you're unstable. You should really consider your finish not just as the end of the swing, but as the final absolute proof of that entire chain reaction we've been talking about. If the foundation wasn't sound from the ground up, the finish, it will always, always betray it.